prison is designed to break you down. And I want us to reflect on that and think about, as communities, how we continue that process that was started in prison and how we can break that.
Good evening. This series, as I mentioned, has 10 episodes on different themes that relate to mass incarceration in ways that cut across borders. It's, of course, transnational, and it also is a series that is entirely told by those directly impacted by incarceration. It centers their voice as the ones with the expertise and the knowledge. And it's also exciting tonight that we have a conversation that is transnational, and that is focused on both problems and solutions. We are here not just to groan about the problem of this crisis, but to really actively promote solutions to it. And I think it's especially an honor that we have not just a transnational conversation, but a transgenerational one as well.
When I went to prison, everything of mine was taken by the government of the apartheid. They took my house. My husband was killed while I was in prison. So when I came out, I had nothing.
Now imagine then, if the society takes you as a criminal and shuns you, it means that you are in prison twice. You are in prison, and then when you come out, you still find yourself in prison. Most of those would rather go back to prison than face the prison, which is the society.
I have these two pieces of paper, right? Let's assume that these two pages are identical. Ngo is a citizen, South African citizen that hasn't committed a crime yet. Unlike me, as a formerly incarcerated person, I committed crimes and I ended up in prison. So essentially what happened to me was this. Now, this is me in prison, right? I come out of prison and I want to rehabilitate myself. I want to be a normal living human being person again. And this is what I do during my reintegration. So I'm going to ask Ngo, I want this paper to be as original as this one. Is it the same? No, it's not the same anymore. This is what happens to you when you have a criminal record.
But with the power of an education, I believe that's the game changer. The great Nelson Mandela, and I always refer to this quote, he says that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And we live by that mantra on a daily basis. The orange is not only worn on the inside, the orange is worn on the outside also. That the same struggles that we are facing on the African continent, in South Africa, are the exact same struggles that they're facing thousands of miles across the seas.
If you feel comfortable, please just close your eyes for 1 second, and everybody on the panel too. And think about the worst, nastiest, meanest, and most embarrassing thing you've ever done in your life. Something that you wish you didn't do and no one knew you ever did. And now imagine every time you try to get a job, or every time you go rent an apartment, or everybody sitting around you right now, to your left, to your right, behind you, in front of you, when you try to go on a date with somebody or get married, imagine that they not only knew you did that, but that they defined your whole existence by the meanest thing you ever did in your whole life. You're not the worst thing you ever did. You're not, right? You don't define yourself by the worst thing you ever did. You're not that thing that you did any more than people who go to prison are a felon or ex-prisoner or a prisoner. They're a human being that did a bad thing and they're trying to move on with their lives. And if we could put some of that money, some of that $2.6 billion back into those communities, and not lock so many of those people up for small crimes or technical violations, and work with their communities to help support them when they come out of prison, or support them instead of sending them to prison, I think we'd be a more decent society, and we'd also have less crime.
The kind of work that we do is full throttle. In collaboration with the Incarceration Nations Network, currently we are supporting about 8 individuals in Kenya in setting up their businesses, and what BAS is actually holding is a project that we are doing. The project is called Prepare. So right there you can see a butterfly. It emanates also from our logo. From what I said, Prepare means to fly away to your opportunities, to possibilities.
What the message is trying to address, we have the statement that we are looking to raise a generation of urban heroes. What that basically means is somebody who was once part of the problem now becoming part of the solution. It's that when people are looking to truly change their lives, they are putting in the most effort. I think it was Father Greg Boyle that said, nothing stops a bullet like a job. And so the end result in everything that we do is that we're hoping to get those who are formerly incarcerated employed. But what we found is needed for that is firstly training, secondly a safe space to do so, and a safe environment for them to do so, and then thirdly to provide them with discipleship.
In some ways, what you're doing is what governments should be doing. If you're going to lock people up, and lots of people up, as they do where I come from, then isn't it your responsibility to reintegrate them afterward, to find them jobs and to find them housing, to ensure that at least there aren't massive hurdles in their way, right? But we know that's not happening all over the world. I also want to highlight, so both Rose and Sean mentioned a project that we're collaborating with them on, and it's called the Writing on the Wall as Enterprise. It is a multiple country, at least 12 country project where we're supporting small business development by those who are coming home from prison, and supporting businesses and decking them out in our INN art project, which is called The Writing on the Wall. It's a collection of writing, drawings, poems made by people in prison all around the world. And we're working with The Message on a coffee trailer that is making its debut tonight. It's covered in the writing on the wall, in these writings by people in prison around the world. So we always like to leave things with action steps. The first is, if you can speak and you are willing to make a pledge that when you speak about people who have been in prison, you use humanizing language. The second is, if anybody has a connection to a business and hiring practices, if you are willing to both pledge your support for your own hiring practices and perhaps be involved in a movement that is what's known as the Fair Chance Hiring Movement. If you are such a person, please see MT. He'll take your information. Number 3, the coffee trailer that you're going to see when this is done, the gorgeous Writing on the Wall as Enterprise project here in South Africa. We still don't have a home for it. Do you have a home for our trailer? We have to attack this at all angles as a crisis, which means right here and now people need jobs and housing and support, etc., right? But we also need to be thinking about policy and the larger structural changes that must occur in order to get us to the truly equitable and inclusive society that we want to live in.
But my hands were made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, redemption song.